الحمد لله الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله عليه من ربه أفضل الصلاة والتسليم أما بعد. To proceed, we praise Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala for allowing us to gather here today في بيت من بيوت الله, in one of the houses from the houses of Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala, نتواصي بالحق ونتواصي بالصبر, to encourage each other with the truth and encourage each other with consistency and patience upon the truth. And I ask Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala for الثبات والسداد إلى الممات, and Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala makes us firm and keeps us straight until the day that we meet Him Tabarak wa Ta'ala. For verily the affairs are stated by Imam Abdullah ibn al-Mubarak al-Marwazi, Shaykh al-Islam, Rahmatullahi Ta'ala alayhi, from the Imams of the Tabi'een, who was, as some of these Salaf in his time, they said he was the best of his generation. Abdullah ibn al-Mubarak al-Marwazi, he said, "I'lam ya akhi, i'lam ya akhi, know, O my brother, أن الموت اليوم كرامة من الله لمن لقي الله على السنة." That death today is a gift from Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala for whoever meets Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala upon the Sunnah. فَإِنَّا لِلَّهِ وَإِنَّا إِلَيْهِ رَاجِعُونَ. For verily we belong to Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala, and indeed we shall return back to Him Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. This is the reality of the affair. And that a person's lifespan and how long they live is not guaranteed. And that each and every single person should take the opportunity, while Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala has given them health and well-being and the faculties to be able to do so, to increase in beneficial knowledge and increase in benefiting from that knowledge by understanding what he has learned and in applying it to his heart, so it has an effect upon his behavior, it has effect upon his dealings with his Lord Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, and it has an effect upon his love of his Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. It has an effect upon his fulfilling the rights of the people and his justice and his fairness. It has an effect upon him from every nahiya, from every direction. And he increases in beneficial knowledge on a daily basis, and that he focuses his life upon learning and spreading the sunnah of the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. And Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, he said, "Tasma'un wa yusma'u minkum." He said, "You people hear me, wa yusma'u minkum," and people are going to hear you. "Wa yusma'u mimman yasma'u minkum," and people are going to hear from those that heard from you. And the knowledge is carried around, or is carried and conveyed, passed on generation after generation, mushafahatan, taken from the mouths of the carriers, the hamalat of al-ilm, carriers of knowledge. And it cannot be taken from people and who are not benefited by what they have learned. As Ibn Qayyim rahimahullah ta'ala, he said in his tremendous book Al-Fawaid, he said, قُطَاعُ الطَّرِيقِ that those people that are like highway robbers, like bandits, as regards the Sirat al-Mustaqim, as regards the path that leads to Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala, they are people who are standing upon the path saying, Halummu ilayna, come and be with us. وَتَقُولُ أَعْمَالُهُمْ لَا تَسْمَعُوا إِلَيْهِمْ, while their actions are saying, don't listen to anything they have to say. Don't listen to anything that they have to say. For wallahi, by Allah, if they truly believe what they said, they will be the first to act upon it. So this is the reality of the affair. Any beneficial knowledge is that which has a tremendous effect upon the heart of the person and the behavior of a person, therefore, and the way that a person deals with others and interacts with others. He deals with who he deals with for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. يَخَافُ اللَّهَ فِيهِمْ وَلَا يَخَافُهُمْ فِي اللَّهِ, as Ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah ta'ala said in Majmu' al-Fatawa, that he fears Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala as regards his dealings with the people, but he doesn't fear the people as regards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَيَرْجُو اللَّهَ فِيهِمْ وَلَا يَرْجُوهُمْ فِي اللَّهِ, and he hopes for the reward of Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala as regards how he deals with the people, but he doesn't hope for anything from them because of what he is doing for Allah. These are the people that have been affected by what they have learned. It was stated by Masruq ibn Abdul Rahman rahmatullahi alayhi, who was from the most premier students of Abdullah bin Mas'ud, that he said, Kafa bi khashyati Allahi ilma. He said there is enough of a person to be considered to have knowledge that they fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is the purpose of knowledge, that it causes a person to fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We heard the statement of Al-Hasan al-Basri. It's a tremendous statement. It's reported with the chain of narrators that are all thiqat, that are all trustworthy narrators. From Al-Imam Ibn Abi Dunya in his book Al-Ishraf fi Manazil al-Ashraf, from Al-Hasan al-Basri, where he said that I أدركت صدر هذه الأمة. He said, I met the Sadr, and the foremost part of this nation, the companions of the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم. ثم طال بي عمر حتى أدركتكم. Then I lived for a very long time until I met you all. Speaking to the second generation. Speaking to the second generation. Before the rest of the statement. Another one of the tabi'een, Maymun ibn Mihran al-Jazari, it was reported from his father. Maymun ibn Mihran was one of the imams. Al-Hasan al-Basri was the imam of Basra, which is where? Iraq. Basra was a military town for the Muslim army that was built when they were at war with the Persians, and for the families of the soldiers and so on and so forth, and became to today one of the cities of the Muslims. He was the imam of the people of Basra in the time of the tabi'een. His brother in Islam and in knowledge, Maymun ibn Mihran al-Jazari, who was the imam of the Jazira, the area of Tabuk, and that which is just south of Ash-Sham, and what is called the Jazira. He said, or rather his father said, and his father, Mihran al-Jazari, was from the Sahaba. He was from the youth of the Sahaba. He said, لو أن رجلا من السلف نشر فيكم. He said, if a man from the Salaf was to be resurrected amongst you all, ما عرف غير هذه القبلة, he wouldn't recognize anything from your Islam except for the Qibla. That was a statement of Mihran al-Jazari, the father of Maymun ibn Mihran, who was the Imam of the Jazira during the reign of Umar bin Abdul Aziz and during the time of the Tabi'een. So he was speaking to second generation of Muslims. ما عساه أن يقول لو أدركنا. What would he say if he saw us? If he saw the Muslims of today? What would the Sahaba and the Tabi'een say? Going back to the statement of Al-Hasan al-Basri, Al-Hasan al-Basri rahimahullah ta'ala, he said that I encountered the sadr, and the chest, the first part, the forefront of this nation, meaning the Sahaba of the Prophet. Al-Hasan al-Basri, they said he met 120 companions of the Prophet. He met 120 companions of the Prophet. He said, then I lived a very long life, hatta adraktukum, until I met you all. Then he talked about how they benefited from the religion, what they had learned from the religion. And we heard this earlier, but it's good. And fi tikrar fa'ida. There's a benefit in repetition. He said that they had more vision with their hearts as regards their deen than you have with your eyes as regards your dunya. Wallahi, brothers, this is one of the most amazing descriptions I've ever heard. And there are many statements that are similar to this from Al-Hasan al-Basri and Maymun ibn Mihran and many of the early scholars, and even some of the Sahaba themselves describing the Salaf, describing the early generation of Muslims. But this has to be one of the most amazing statements I've ever read or heard. And it's very concise and comprehensive. He said, Wallahi, they had more vision with their hearts as regards their religion than you have with your eyes as regards your dunya. Meaning they had what? They had al-fahm, sahih, al-thaqib, had strong, radiant understanding as regards their religion. And their religion wasn't something that they were upon because their fathers and mothers were Muslims. Their religion wasn't something that they were upon because their people had embraced Islam. And so they were just doing what everybody else had done. But rather, many of these Imams, especially in the Tabi'een, after the death of the great Imams of the Salaf from the Ulama, such as Abdullah bin Umar, Abdullah bin Amr, Zayd bin Thabit, Mu'adh bin Jabal, Abu Musa al-Ash'ari, Abdullah bin Mas'ud, and others from the ulama of the companions of the Prophet ﷺ. Then in every land, the ulama of that land in the time of the Tabi'een, with the exception of Al-Madinah, they were all mawali. They were all freed slaves. They were from the children of the freed slaves. Ata ibn Abi Rabbah, a dark African man, was who? The Imam of the Haram al-Makki. They said that the Masjid al-Haram was the home of Ata ibn Abi Rabbah for more than 25 or 30 years. Every day he slept in the Masjid al-Haram. Rahmatullahi alayhi, the Mufti of Mecca. Scholar after scholar from the Mawali, in the second generation of Islam. What had caused them to progress in their religion and knowledge, al-basira. They had a strong understanding of Islam. It was something, as Ibn Qayyim rahimahullah ta'ala, he explains that they are, as regards al-basira, that there are three categories of al-basira. In his book Madarij al-Salikin, he said that what al-basira is where a person can see something with his heart, just as his eye sees something physically. That something is like he can see it with his heart. It is so clear. There are many statements of the Salaf in that regards. Waqi' ibn al-Jarrah, from the Tabi'een, what do you say? He said, Wallahi ma salaytu salatan qat. He said, I swear by Allah, I've never ever made a salat illa وَكَأَنِّي أَرَى النَّارِ تِلْقَاءَ وَجْهِي, except that it was as though I could see the fire right in front of me. Imagine if every time you went to the salat you could see the fire right in front of you. And the person, he's standing there and he's saying, if the hellfire was right in front of my face, and everything that Allah has described in amazing detail the fire with, and the terror and the hideousness of the fire, and as much as you can imagine what the hellfire must be like, you know that it is horrible and terrifying even beyond what you can imagine. As much as you can imagine, the hellfire, it's worse than that. It's worse than that. And the fire, about which Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala, He said, إِذَا رَأَتْهُمْ مِنْ مَكَانٍ بَعِيدٍ سَمِعُوا لَهَا تَغَيُّذًا وَزَفِيرًا. That when the hellfire sees its denizens, its soon-to-be inhabitants on the Day of Judgment from a far-off distance. Because we know what? يُؤْتَى بِجَهَنَّمَ يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ. Hadith Abdullah bin Mas'ud, Sahih Muslim. The hellfire is going to be brought on the Day of Judgment. لَهَا سَبْعُونَ أَلْفَ زِمَامٍ. It's going to have 70,000 enormous chains. مَعَ كُلِّ زَمَامٍ مِنْهَا سَبْعُونَ أَلْفَ مَلَكٍ يَجُرُّونَهَا. Each chain being dragged by 70,000 angels. The tremendousness of which only Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala knows. When it's being brought close, when the hellfire sees them, سَمِعُوا لَهَا تَغَيُّذًا وَزَفِيرًا. They hear the hellfire raging and roaring. They're going to hear the fire raging and roaring. Allahu Akbar. It was stated by one of the Salaf, he said, تزفر الجهنم يوم القيامة زفرة واحدة. He said, on the Day of Judgment, the hellfire is going to exhale with a roaring one time. It's going to roar, exhaling one time. لا يبقى منها ملك مقرب ولا نبي مرسل إلا خر لركبتيه من الهوى. And there won't remain a single prophet sent by Allah, or an angel that was close to the throne of Ar-Rahman Tabarak wa Ta'ala, close to Allah, except that they will fall upon their knees in terror. The prophets and the messengers will be terrified. What about the rest of the people? What about the kafara? What about the mubtadi'ah? What about the dhulal? What about the mudillin? What about those people who lied upon Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala and introduced into the religion which they had no authority for? And they will come Yawm al-Qiyamah, while they had told the people that if they practice those innovative practices, they will get closer to Allah, and they will find that they had, the harder they worked on their innovations, the farther they got from Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala. Mudillin, people that are astray and leading other people astray. What would their condition be? What would the condition be of people who didn't give any importance to learning beneficial knowledge throughout their life? You live in a time of information and technology, and all sorts of things are accessible to you to help you learn your religion. Especially as the men of our homes, having children and wives, and if we're in a pitiful condition, then their situation is normally going to be even worse than us. You never take the initiative to learn anything, or to practice anything and implement anything. And when you're with the people, you're one person, and the outside of the message, you're another person, and these sorts of affairs. If our condition is pitiful, what will their condition be? And it will be a day that we have been told by Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala and ordered by Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala to prepare for as regards saving ourselves and our families from the fire. With what? And these ayat, they have tafsir. The tafsir of the Salaf, the tafsir of the Sahaba. Alladina basharul wahy, was people that directly encountered the coming of the revelation to the Prophet ﷺ and how he explained it and how they understood it applied to their communities. How did they understand it? Ali ibn Abi Talib, he said, أَيَعْلِمُوهُمْ وَأَدِّبُوهُمْ. Save you and your families from the fire means teach them and discipline them. Teach them and impart adab, meaning akhlaqun tayyiba hasana. good, beautiful character to your family. Those qualities that are love to Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala. تحرم النار على كل هين لين سهل قريب من الناس. Hadith Sahih. The Prophet ﷺ, he said, the fire has been forbidden for every person who is hayyin layyin sahlin qareebin min al-nas. Hayyin mutawadi', every person that is humble in their dealings with others. Layyin, who is gentle in their dealings with others. Their speech is easy, their dealings are easy. They deal with people as comes in the hadith of Abdullah bin Amr in Sahih Muslim. When Prophet ﷺ, he said, تَجِيُ الْفِتَنُ فَيُرَقِقُ بَعْضُهَا بَعْضًا. That in the latter generations of the time of the Salaf, that fitna is going to befall the Ummah of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Every time it comes, it will make what came before it seem light. The hadith of Anas ibn Malik, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, it's not a year except the one that comes after will be worse than until you meet Allah. Right? Every time fitna comes, it will make what came before it seem light. What does a person do? Because fitna leads to the hellfire. A person who gets caught up in fitna, Allahu Akbar, and he goes astray. So the Prophet ﷺ, he used to seek refuge from fitnatin mudilla, and from fitna that leads astray, because it's the nature of fitna. Fitna is shubuhat and shahawat. All of fitna is two types: doubts and desires. Everything in fitna goes back to doubts and desires. The person, he gets caught up by his doubts, it leads to the fire. He gets caught up by his desires. إِيَّاكُمْ وَمُحْقِرَاتُ الذُّنُوبِ. I warn you of those sins that are taken lightly. Because why? تَجْتَمِعُ لِشَخْص. Because they accumulate like a person accumulating wood for fire, for a bonfire. They accumulate little by little until they engulf a person. A person is caught up in his shahawat. He's caught up in his shubuhat. He lives in a time where people have spent and invested trillions of dollars in technologies to twist and warp the minds of the people and to program people. And the same people that brought the world sciences like personality engineering, behavioral engineering, these sorts of things, developing technologies to push their message through, to push their agenda through. He lives at a time like this where shahawat are rampant, desires are rampant, the tools of destruction. Your child may at any given time, once they reach a certain age, and like many Muslim parents, you give your child this device and that device, they may be walking around with 3 or 4 or 5 devices of self-destruction at any given time. They could listen to music on that, they could talk to girls on that, they could do this on that, they could do that on that. And the people, they take it lightly. Shubuhat and shahawat tuaddi ila nari jahannam. And these doubts and desires are going to lead people to the hellfire. And lead people right into the hellfire. He's been ordered what? Protect his children, protect himself, protect his wife from the fire. What's a person going to say? And when they didn't learn anything about their religion, and they didn't give importance to the salah. Abdullah, or Al-Imam Ahmad rahimahullah ta'ala, he said, اعلم يا عبد الله, know, O slave of Allah تبارك وتعالى, أن قدر الإسلام في قلبك بحسب قدر الصلاة في قلبك. That the value of Islam in your heart is according to the value of Islam in your heart is only according to the value of the salah in your heart. فإياك يا عبد الله أن تلقى الله ولا قدر للإسلام عندك. So be careful, O slave of Allah, that you meet Allah while Islam is worthless to you. Never taught his children to pray, never taught his wife to pray, he doesn't know how to pray himself. He collects all 3 of these things that the Prophet ﷺ mentioned in the hadith of Sahih Muslim when he said, Tilka salatul munafiq, tilka salatul munafiq, tilka salatul munafiq. That's the salat of a munafiq, that's the salat of a munafiq, that's the salat of the munafiq. What? And the person who waits until the sun is about to set. He waits until the sun is right about to set. That's the first thing. He has let it go outside of his proper time. He has neglected his time. And the second thing, what? ثُمَّ نَقِرَ. And then he pecks the ground for 4 raka'at. Like a crow pecking the ground. Right? لا يذكر الله فيه إلا قليلا. لا يذكر الله فيها إلا قليلا. And he doesn't remember Allah during his salah except for very little. And his mind is absent in his salah. He has no focus, no concentration in his salah. The hadith of Anas ibn Malik of the Prophet ﷺ, he said, perhaps a man will pray, وَلَا يُكْتَبُ لَهُ مِنْ صَلَاتِهِ إِلَّا عُشُرُهَا. Perhaps a man will make his salat and nothing will be written for his salat except for a tenth of it. تُسُعُهَا, a ninth of it. ثُمُنُهَا, a eighth of it. سُبُعُهَا, or a seventh of it. سُدُسُهَا, or a sixth of it. خُمُسُهَا, or a fifth of it. رُبُعُهَا, or a fourth of it. ثُلُثُهَا, a third of it. نُصْفُهَا, or a half of it. That's the most that was mentioned by the Prophet ﷺ. That a person has presence of mind during half of their salah. Perhaps a person will pray and nothing will be written for them of their salah except for a tenth, a ninth, a eighth, a seventh, to a half. The most that was mentioned was a half. لا يذكر الله فيها إلا قليلا. And he doesn't remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on his salah. What is he praying for? And he's praying because he has to pray. I gotta pray. You doing Allah a favor? Allahu Akbar. You're doing Allah a favor by praying? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is غنيٌ عن العالمين. And we pray for us. إِنَّ الصَّلَاةَ تَنْهَى عَنِ الْفَحْشَاءِ وَالْمُنْكَرِ. Indeed, the salah prevents the people from fahsha and munkar. Prevents the people from destructive behavior. The salah is for us. And when the person understands that everything that he does is a favor from Allah upon him, and he's not doing himself, or he's not doing anyone a favor but himself by obeying Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that person doesn't care. Doesn't learn anything from his religion. He doesn't practice the most basic things of his religion in his home. It doesn't matter if his wife or children pray. It doesn't matter. Allah knows what's in our heart. Something that should terrify a person. Allah knows what's in my heart. Allahu Akbar. يَعْلَمُ أَنَّ اللَّهَ يَعْلَمُ مَا فِي أَنفُسِكُمْ فَاحْذَرُوهُ. And Imam Muhammad al-Amin al-Shanqiti said, أَعْظَمُ مَوْعِدًا نَزَلَتْ مِنَ السَّمَاءِ إِلَى الْأَرْضِ. He said the greatest admonition sent from the heavens to the earth can be found on almost every single page of the Quran. لا تكاد تخلو صفحة من كتاب الله تبارك وتعالى من هذه الموعظة البليغة. There's almost not a single page in the book of Allah except that somewhere on this page you're going to find an admonition of the fact that Allah sees everything, hears everything, knows all, is Khabirun Latif, has knowledge of the most intricate affairs. يَعْلَمُ السِّرَّ وَأَخْفَى. He knows what is secret, meaning what a person is thinking, what is even more hidden than that, meaning what he will think before he thinks it. Or a person says, Allah knows I'm a good person in my heart. Allah knows what is in my heart. And if a person was to realize that Allah knows what he is thinking and what is in his heart, he should be terrified of Allah Tabaraka wa ta'ala. A person doesn't care. What's he going to do? The hellfire is brought. Now look at the Salaf. Think about that statement. Because this is our problem. Part of our problem is that people, when they learn stuff, they learn it takathuran. They learn it to just have more information and more data. But they don't take the time to really digest what they've learned and to really think deeply about what they've learned. A person can learn the Quran from Fatiha to Nas. From Fatiha to Nas. And not benefit from it. Prophet ﷺ, he said, أَكْثَرُ مُنَافِقِ هَذِهِ الْأُمَّةِ قُرَّاؤُهَا. He said the majority of munafiqs from this nation are from the reciters. Authentic hadith. Learn the Quran from Fatiha to Nas. Why? Just to say that you learned it? So Abdullah bin Mas'ud, he said, لا يكون هم أحدكم آخر السورة. He said, don't let the aspiration and ambition of one of you be to finish a surah. Or rather, a person is to stop at every ayat in the book of Allah Ta'ala and give it its just due. Give it a nasib and a portion of contemplation and reflection and so on and so forth. Think about that statement. Waqi' ibn al-Jarrah, rahmatullahi alayhi, that great imam, he said, I never ever prayed a single salah except that it was as though I could see the hellfire right in front of me. I could see the hellfire right in front of me. That's like the statement of the Prophet ﷺ in a hadith graded to be Hasan by Shaykh al-Albani rahimahullah ta'ala. The Prophet ﷺ, he said on one occasion when the Muslims were about to pray, he said, Sallu salatan wada'ah. You hear people say that. If you say that every time you pray, it's an innovation. The Prophet ﷺ didn't say it every time he was lining his companions to pray, but he said it on one occasion, so it can be said from time to time. Pray like it's your last prayer. One narration, صلوا صلاة رجل لا يرى أنه سيصلي صلاة بعدها. He said, pray the salat of a man who thinks that he may never pray again. It's your last prayer. Your last prayer. وَإِيَّاكُمْ وَكُلَّ أَمْرٍ يُعْتَذَرُ مِنْهُ. And I furthermore, he said, warn you of every affair that you will have to seek an excuse for in front of Allah. That you have to make an excuse for yourself in front of Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala about. They had basira like that. The statement of Al-Hasan al-Basri. That they had more basira, they had more vision with their hearts as regards their deen than you have with your eyes as regards your dunya. The paradise was like that for them. Fire was like that for them. What they knew about the barzakh. And some of the companions had a hard time eating. Had a hard time eating after reading the statement of Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala. وَمَا مِنْكُمْ إِلَّا وَارِدُهَا. There is not a single one of you except he's going to have to pass over it, meaning over the fire, meaning over the sirat that goes over the back of the hellfire from the earth into the paradise. The fact that, what they say, Abdullah ibn al-Mubarak reported in Kitab al-Zuhd from some of the Salaf that they read this verse and they would cry, they would have a hard time eating some other thing. He said, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He said, He guaranteed that we will all have to cross through it, cross over it. But He has not guaranteed that we will make it all the way. He has not guaranteed that we'll make it all the way. Al-Dhahabi rahimahullah ta'ala, he said, whoever doesn't imagine that he may be in the fire is maghrur. Whoever doesn't imagine that he's going to be in the fire is deluded. He is deluded. How often does that come to a person's mind? That you may be from the people of the fire. Who are the people of the fire? The mushrikun, kuffar, the munafiqun. Are we safe from shirk? Are we safe from shirk? Allahu Akbar. Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam, he said, as Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala said, وَإِذْ قَالَ إِبْرَاهِيمُ رَبِّي أَجْعَلْ هَذَا الْبَلَدَ آمِنًا وَاجْنُبْنِي وَبَنِيَ أَن نَعْبُدَ الْأَصْنَامَ. Oh Allah, make this a safe land and prevent me and my children from worshipping idols. And prevent me and my children from worshipping idols. It's a way of Ibrahim. وَمَنْ يَأْمَنْ بَعْدَ Ibrahim. Some of the Salaf, they said, and who will feel safe from shirk after Ibrahim was afraid of shirk? The person is afraid of kufr or not. It was stated by the great Imam At-Tabi'i Al-Jalil from the students of Mu'adh bin Jabal and many of the companions of the Prophet ﷺ. Abu Idris al-Khawlani, he was one of those people that he sat with one scholar from the Sahaba, and then when that scholar died, he would tell him, go to Fulan. And he went to another Sahaba until he died, and he said, go to so-and-so, until he died. Abu Idris al-Khawlani, rahmatullahi ta'ala alayhi, who had taken knowledge and he sat at the feet of the ulama of the companions until they died. Listen to his statement. It was reported from Al-Faryabi, صفة المنافقين وصفة النفاق وذم المنافقين. This tremendous book about nifaq authentically, the authentic chain of narration to Abu Idris al-Khawlani. He said, ما على ظهرها من أحد لا يخاف على إيمانه أن يذهب إلا ذهب. There's not a single person on the face of the earth who doesn't fear losing his iman except he has already lost it. There's nobody on the face of the earth who isn't afraid of kufr except that he has already lost his iman. Hey, a person is not afraid of kufr for himself. As was stated by Al-Hasan al-Basri, authentically, that he said that no one fears nifaq except for a believer. And no one feels safe from nifaq except for a munafiq, except for a hypocrite. Those are the people of the fire. Alaysa kadhalik? Isn't that the case? The munafiqun, the kuffar, the mushrikun are the people of the fire. And there is no one from the ummah of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam min al-muntasibin ila al-qibla, from those that ascribe themselves to the qibla, who have more of the descriptions of the munafiqeen than the people of bid'ah wa dalala. And every time and every place. What is the descriptions of the munafiqun? The categories: nifaqun akbar mukhrij min al-millah, major nifaq that removes a person from Islam, are 6. Takdeeb al-Rasul, rejecting the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, or takdeebi ba'di ma ja'a bihi al-Rasul, or rejecting anything that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam came with. And how much does that exist with the people of innovation? If a person was to outright reject something, knowing it came from the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, biduni ta'wilin batil, without just a false misinterpretation of the religion or a false reason, and they said that they rejected something because he said this thing is illogical, this thing it doesn't make sense, that is an act of kufr. That is an act of kufr. Now, a person who has a misunderstanding about something of the religion, and he misinterprets something in such a fashion, and then that act may remove him from the sunnah to being from the people of innovation. So a person who rejects the Prophet or rejects anything that he came with, and how much does that exist with the people of innovation? Or he hates the Prophet or hates anything that he came with. Those are the first 4 categories. Or what? Or he hates to see the preeminence and victory of the religion of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Hates to see that Islam should be uppermost in the earth. Or he what? Or he is pleased and happy that the religion of the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam should be weak in the earth. So a person has to evaluate themselves. And what is their level of tasdeeq? What is their level of affirmation when they hear something that came from Allah, came from the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam? Where are they at as regards really understanding that thing and believing that it is a true reality? That it is a true reality. Where are they at with that? Look at the statement of Umar ibn Abdul Aziz. He said the last khutbah that was given by Umar ibn Abdul Aziz, he said, "O people, either you believe in the hereafter, فَأَنْتُمْ حَمْقَى وَهَذَا عَمَالُكُمْ فَأَنْتُمْ حَمْقَى." Either you do believe in the hereafter, and you still act like that, and so you retarded. وَإِمَّا أَنَّكُمْ مُكَذِّبُونَ بِالْآخِرَةِ فَأَنْتُمْ حَلْكَى. Or either you don't believe in the hereafter, and so you are destroyed. And you're from the kuffar if you don't believe in the hereafter. This is a statement of Umar ibn Abdul Aziz to the people in the time of the Tabi'een, and dealing with his people as regards their taqseer, their shortcoming, and their lack of zeal and vigor as regards their religion. So a person, they look at that. Where are they at with their tasdeeq? Where are they at with their mahabbah? When something comes from Allah, comes from the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, of beneficial information, and the orders of Allah and the prohibitions of Allah ta'ala, how does their heart feel about that? Does their heart realize that everything that Allah has instructed them with and informed them of, that it is of a greater benefit and good for them than they could begin to imagine? Or do they feel as though their religion is preventing them from things that they would otherwise like to do, and things that they would do if they were not in the presence of the Muslims, and so on and so forth? And where are they at with that? Why are they doing the things that they are doing? Are they doing them because they love those things? Or are they doing them because they feel compelled to do so? Where is their love for those things? Where is their support of the religion? Don't they understand that supporting the religion of Allah Ta'ala is mandatory upon every single person. As was stated by Ibn Qayyim rahimahullah ta'ala, and the conclusion of his Nuniyah, he said, هذا ونصر الدين فرض واجب لا للكفاية بل على العيان باليد وإما بلساني فإن عجزت فبالتوجه والدعاء بجناني. He said that the support of the religion of Allah Ta'ala is a mandatory obligation, not upon some people, but upon every single Muslim. باليد, to support physically, with your hands, with your wealth, with your resources. وَإِمَّا بِلِسَانِ, or with your tongue, or either with your tongue. It's a mandatory obligation upon every single Muslim to order the good and forbid the evil, and to call to Allah Ta'ala, and to advise the creation of Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala according to what they have of knowledge of the religion. Not according to what they don't know. As was stated by the Prophet ﷺ when he said, لا يمنعن أحدكم مخافة الناس وفي لفظ هيبة الناس أن يتكلم بحق إذا علم. That none of you be prevented by his fear or respect of people from speaking the truth, إذا علم, on the condition of what? When he knows it, when he has knowledge of the truth. So long as he has knowledge of it. And the person who knows something, and he knows that it is likely that a person is going to take advice from them, or at least listen to what they have to say, and it's not going to lead to a greater evil, it's mandatory for them to order the good and forbid the evil. وَلَا يَخَافُ فِي اللَّهِ لَوْمَةَ لَائِمٍ, and not to fear the blame of the blamers when it comes to Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. Where are we from that? Where are the people from that? Ordering the good and forbidding the evil according to the scope of their knowledge without fearing the blame of the blamers when it comes to Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. It was stated by the best of the Tabi'een, whose name was Uwais ibn Amr al-Qarni. Uwais al-Qarni is a narration believed to be authentic by many of the ulama, that said that the best of the Tabi'een, the ihsan of those that followed the companions in goodness, was Uwais ibn Amr al-Qarni. That he said, إن الأمر بالمعروف والنهي عن المنكر لم يدع لأحد صديقا. And ordering the good and forbidding the evil has never left a friend for a person. Ordering the good and forbidding the evil has never left a person with a friend, with a single friend. He said, نأمرهم بالمعروف يشتمون أعراضنا. He said, we order them with the good and they slander us and lie on us. We call them to the sunnah, we call them to the khair, we warn them against evil, we warn them of what opposes the sunnah, and the people start to slander us and lie on us and ridicule us and so on and so forth. He said, by Allah, we will not stop establishing the right of Allah Ta'ala upon the people so long as we are amongst them. So long as we are amongst them. Where is a person from that? Where is a person from that? And so the early generation had vision as regards the religion. He mentioned Ibn Qayyim rahimahullah ta'ala, he mentioned 3 categories of al-basira. The first is al-basira, is vision as regards Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. And this is to know Allah through His names, His attributes, and His actions, on account of which He alone deserves to be worshipped. His names, His attributes, and His actions, on which on account of which He alone deserves to be worshipped. So that person, the more they know about the beautiful names of Allah, the better they can worship Allah. Each name has a tremendous effect upon the heart of a person. As Ibn Qayyim rahimahullah ta'ala, he said in his book عدة الصابرين, he said, وَمَنْ تَعَلَّقَ بِصِفَةٍ مِنْ صِفَاتِهِ أَخَذَتْهُ بِيَدِهِ حَتَّى تُدْخِلُهُ عَلَيْهِ. He said that whoever connects their heart to a single attribute or name of Allah Ta'ala, then that knowledge of that attribute or name of Allah would take that person by the hand until it enters upon Allah Ta'ala for the meeting with Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. A man, he was asked by the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, when he was appointed as an emir, and when he was appointed as an emir over the army, and they have been traveling, and every salah he recited قُلْ هُوَ اللَّهُ أَحَدٌ اللَّهُ الصَّمَدُ لَمْ يَلِدْ وَلَمْ يُولَدْ وَلَمْ يَكُنْ لَهُ كُفُوًا أَحَدٌ. He says, سَلْهُ عَمَّ يَفْعَلْ ذَلِكَ. He said, ask him why he did that. He said, لِأَنَّ فِيهَا صِفَةُ الرَّحْمَنِ. He said, because it has the description of Rahman in it. وَأَنَّ أُحِبُّ أَنْ أَقْرَأَهَا. He said, I love to read the description of Rahman Tabarak wa Ta'ala. The Prophet ﷺ, he said, أَخْبِرْهُ أَنَّ حُبَّهُ إِيَّهُ أَدْخَلَهُ الْجَنَّةِ. He said, tell that man that his love of it has entered him into the Jannah. Has entered him into the Jannah. It was stated by Abdullah ibn Mubarak and by Malik ibn Dinar, rahimahumullah ta'ala, that they said, مَسَاكِينُ أَهْلِ الدُّنْيَا ذَهَبُوا مِنَ الدُّنْيَا وَمَا ذَاقُوا أَطْيَبَ مَا فِيهَا. That the unfortunate people are those that leave from this world without tasting the best thing in it. Ma'rifatullah, which is to know Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And so the greatest basira a person can have is to understand about Allah and His names and His attributes and His what? And His actions. Which is also called what? The actions of Allah, and singling out Allah with His actions, that Allah alone is able to do those actions. This is called the Tawheed of Ar-Rububiyyah, Ifradullahi bi af'alihi. Singling out Allah with His actions is the Tawheed of Ar-Rububiyyah. And so when he knows about the names, the attributes, the actions of Allah, and he'll know that there is nothing that is deserving of his love and his hope and his fear and reliance, and all those other maqamat of ibadah, those stations and levels that a person worships Allah Ta'ala with as regarding what occurs in his heart, than that. And so a person, if they want to know what the Salaf were upon, go back to the statement of Al-Hasan al-Basri. Said they have more vision with their hearts concerning their religion than you have with your eyes concerning your dunya. This basira, so 3 types. He said the first type, knowing about Allah, is having vision, meaning knowledge as regards what? Allah's names, His attributes, and His actions, on account of which He alone has the right to be worshipped, subhanahu wa ta'ala. طيب. The second maqam, the second type of al-basira is to have al-basira as regards the deen of Allah ta'ala, as regards the sirat al-mustaqim, the straight path that leads to Allah ta'ala, which is what? Al-Islam. Abu al-Aliya al-Riyahi, rahmatullahi alayhi, likewise from the Imams al-Basra, from the Tabi'een, who was older than Al-Hasan al-Basri and was a student of knowledge before him. He said, may Allah have mercy upon him, he said, تَعَلَّمُوا الْإِسْلَامِ فَإِذَا تَعَلَّمْتُمُوهُ فَلَا تَرْغَبُوا عَنْهُ. He said, learn Islam. And once you have learned Islam, then never lose interest in Islam. وَعَلَيْكُمْ بِالصِّرَاطِ الْمُسْتَقِيمِ فَإِنَّهُ الْإِسْلَامِ. He said, and I advise you to be upon the Sirat al-Mustaqim, for verily it is Islam. For verily it is Islam. In the tafsir of the statement of Allah, اهدنا الصراط المستقيم. The scholars, they mentioned the hadith reported by At-Tirmidhi and others, where the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, ضرب الله مثلا صراطا مستقيما وعلى جنبتي صراط سرعان فيهما أبواب مفتحة وعلى الأبواب سطور مرخاة وعلى رأس الصراط داع يقول أيها الناس ادخلوا الصراط جميعا ولا تتعوجوا ومن فوق الصراط داع فإذا أراد أحد أن يفتح شيئا من تلك الأبواب يقول ويحك لا تفتح فإنك إن فتحته تلج. فالصراط الإسلام. Allah has given the parable of the straight path. Allah has given a parable of a what? A straight path. On the sides of the path are sur'an, 2 walls that have open up doors in them. The person is to envision the straight path, the walls, the doors. Upon the doors are suturun murkha, yani curtains, drapings, loose drapings over the doors that prevent the person from seeing what is on the other side of those doors. Because if a person can see the end result of deviating from the path and going into doubts and desires and destructive behaviors, they will probably stay away from that. It's an imtihan, it's a test from Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala. Upon me, over those doors are loose drapings. At the head of the path there is a counter that is saying, "O mankind, all of you, every last one of you, enter the path and don't go crooked. And don't go crooked. وَمِن فَوْقِ الصِّرَاطِ دَاعٍ." And above the path there is another calling that says to a person whenever he wants to pull back any of those drapings, to go through those doors and off of the Sirat al-Mustaqim, وَيْحَكَ لَا تَفْتَحُ. Woe be to you. Don't open it up. Because if you open it up, you're going to pass right through it. Right? The person that goes close to the shubuhat, right? To the mushtabihat, to the doubtful affairs, grazing in the sanctuary Allah has forbidden. أَوْشَكَ أَنْ يَقَعَ فِيهَا. He's going to what? Soon he's going to fall into the haram. Right? Woe be to you, don't go through it. If you go through it, you're going to pass through it. The Sirat is Islam. The Prophet ﷺ, he said the Sirat is Islam. And the Abwab al-Mufattaha and the Sur'an and the 2 walls are Hududullah. They're the boundaries of Allah. Wal-Abwab al-Mufattaha Maharimullah. And the doors that are open up on those walls are the forbidden matters. Shirk, kufr, bid'ah, ma'asiyah. According to what it is, will be how far a person goes off of the path. Right? And the corner at the head of the path is the book of Allah. And the corner from above is وَعِدُ اللَّهِ فِي قَلْبِ كُلِّ Muslim. The corner from above is the admonition from Allah in the heart of every Muslim. Some of the scholars, they said, it was mentioned by Munawi and Fayd al-Qadir, that Allah knows best of what is meant by the wa'id of Allah. The admonition from Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala in the heart of every Muslim is what is mentioned in the hadith of Abdullah ibn Mas'ud, reported by at-Tirmidhi and graded to be authentic by Shaykh al-Albani rahimahullah ta'ala, fi akhiri umrihi. In the beginning of his life he graded to be weak, and he found things that make it reach the level of authenticity. It's a statement of Abdullah ibn Mas'ud. It's something that can only be said لا يقال من قبل الرأي. It cannot be said because of a person's opinion or their personal view about a thing. It can only be said by a companion hearing it from the Prophet ﷺ. So it takes the ruling of being from the Prophet ﷺ. The Prophet ﷺ, he said, إِنَّ لِلشَّيْطَانِ لَمَّةً وَلِلْمَلَكِ لَمَّةً. That indeed the shaitan that is with the person, meaning his qareen, has a lamma. It has a place, a proximity, of closeness where it can have an effect upon the person and encourage the person with evil and destructive behavior and so on and so forth. And indeed the angel likewise has a lamma. It has the same ability, because a person also has what? Prophet ﷺ said in the hadith of Sahih Muslim, ما منكم من أحد إلا وكل به قرينه من الجن وقرينه من الملائكة. There's not a single one of you except he has appointed to him a qareen from the jinn and a qareen from the malaika. In Sahih Muslim. There's not a single one of you except he has appointed to him a qareen from the jinn, companion from the jinn, that will be with him his life, his entire life, and a qareen from the malaika. فَلَمَّةُ الشَّيْطَانِ, going back to the hadith of Mas'ud, I mean the effect of the shaitan upon a person is إِعَادٌ بِالشَّرِّ وَالتَّكْذِيبٌ بِالْحَقِّ, is to threaten the person with evil and to try to get him to reject the truth. So he hates the truth and he rejects it, right? This is the asl of Iman is what? التصديق والمحبة. The scholars, they say that the core of Iman is al-tasdeeq wal-mahabba, the statement of the heart and the action of the heart. Right? The statement of the heart, which is a person's belief. He believes in everything that came from Allah and the Prophet ﷺ. And his what? And his love of that. This is the core of Iman. So the shaitan, he wants to frighten a person away. So the person is averse, he's afraid. And a person doesn't like what he's afraid of. He's going to dislike acting upon his religion. He's going to threaten him with what? With evil. And he's going to try to encourage him to disbelieve in the truth. وَلَمَّةُ الْمَلَكِ, and the effect of the angel is إِعَادٌ بِالْخَيْرِ وَتَصْدِيقٌ بِالْحَقِّ. And he has to encourage a person with good, and to strengthen his heart, and to encourage him to believe in the truth, and to encourage him to increase in knowledge and his love of the truth in these sorts of affairs. So this is what Al-Munawi, he said, and Allah knows best, is meant by this statement of the Prophet ﷺ. And that the caller from above the path, and the path is what? The path is Islam. Something that helps keep a person on the path is the angel that Allah has appointed to him. The angel that Allah has appointed to him. تَثْبِيتًا لِقَلْبِهِ, and to make his heart firm. He said, and the people as regards, they're listening to the whisperings of the shaitan, and they're responding to the encouragement of the malaika, are like night and day. He says some people it's like night all the time. Some people it's like day all the time. Some people it's like more night than day for them. And they're in darkness and they're in light. They're in darkness and they're in light. They're in darkness and they're in light. They listen to this, listen to that. Ala kullin. So Abu Ali al-Rayahi, going back to his statement, as regards the Sirat al-Mustaqim, he said, I advise you to be upon the Sirat al-Mustaqim, for verily it is Islam. We said this is the second level of basira. The second level of basira, of understanding and vision and foresight as regards the religion of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, is to have vision as regards the straight path. As-Sa'di rahimahullah ta'ala, he said that the summarization of what the straight path is the fulfillment of the rights of Allah and the rights of the creation. It is what? Al-ilmu nafi wal-amalu salih. It is beneficial knowledge and righteous actions, the fulfillment of the rights of Allah and the rights of the creation. So a person has basira as regards the straight path. Then he has basira as regards the third thing. Ibn Qayyim, he said al-basira as regards al-jaza, al-iqab wal-thawab, as regards compensation for one's actions, reward and punishment, as regards the paradise and the fire, and as regards the reward and the punishment of Allah for the people in this world. That is a taste of what awaits them in the hereafter. Allah said, وَلَنُذِقَنَّهُمْ مِنَ الْعَذَابِ الْأَدْنَى دُونَ الْعَذَابِ الْأَكْبَرِ لَعَلَّهُمْ يَرْجِعُونَ. He said in Surah Al-Sajdah, and indeed we will cause them to taste from the lesser torment and punishment before the greater punishment and torment, so perhaps they may return back to Allah Ta'ala. So a person has basira, he has vision as regards how Allah deals with the creation, as regards al-iqab wa thawab, as regards reward and punishment, as regards reward and punishment. These are the three levels of basira. Having basira as regards Allah, as regards the path leading to Allah, and as regards the reward and the punishment that is awaiting the people at the end of the path when they arrive for the meeting with Allah Ta'ala. Hakada. Hasan al-Basri, he said they had more vision with their hearts as regards their religion than you have with your eyes concerning your dunya. This is the fahm of the early generations, the certainty that they had. It was stated by Abu Mas'ud al-Ansari al-Badri radiyallahu anhu, that he said that he was with Hudayfa bin al-Yaman. And the narration gives us the impression that Hudayfa was very ill and was perhaps close to his death. And Abu Mas'ud, he said, "Ihad ilayya." He said, "Give me an ahd," meaning give me an advice that I will guarantee you that I never leave off, I never abandon. Something that I always hold fast to, ya Hudayfa. Hudayfa, he said, "Awalam ya'tika al-yaqeen." He says, "Hasn't certainty already come to you?" You need me to tell you something like that? Don't you have certainty about your religion? Why you need an ahd? Why you need something that's binding, that's going to make binding upon yourself like that? أَوَلَمْ يَأْتِكَ الْيَقِينَ. He said, hasn't certainty already come to you? He said, بَلَى وَالَّذِي لَا إِلَهَ غَيْرُهُ. He said, of course, I swear by the one that nothing deserves to be worshipped besides. He said, فَعْلَمْ أَنَّ الضَّلَالَةَ حَقَّ الضَّلَالَةِ. He said the no, speaking to Abu Mas'ud, Hudayfa, he said the no, that ad-dalala, that misguidance, haqq ad-dalala, and in its reality, and its epitome, its highest level, أن تعرف ما كنت تنكر وأن تنكر ما كنت تعرف, is that you deem to be munkar what you used to believe to be ma'ruf, and that you deem to be ma'ruf what you used to deem to be munkar. You think that something is beneficial and advantageous and correct as regards the religion, and as regards an aql being something logically correct and beneficial, and as regards the fitrah, and you feel comfortable with that thing that you used to think was a munkar. You think it's correct now. Not based upon evidence, based upon your desires. Based upon your desires. Because it's more in line of what you're trying to do. He said, know that the highest level of misguidance is that you were deemed to be ma'ruf, what you used to deem to be munkar. Or deemed to be munkar, what you used to deem to be ma'ruf. Something changed your mind about what you used to know was in the Book of Allah and the Sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. This is the reality of misguidance, and this is the reality of a shubha. A shubha, the scholars they say, a doubt comes from the word shibhun, which is where something resembles something else. A person confuses truth with falsehood, and falsehood with truth. A person, and he has rejected the truth and he has believed a lie. وَإِنَّ الْكَذِبْ يَهْدِي إِلَى الْفُجُورِ وَالْفُجُورِ يَهْدِي إِلَى النَّارِ. And lying leads to wickedness, and wickedness leads to hell. Just as a sidq yahdi ila al-birr, just as trueness leads to righteousness, and righteousness leads to paradise. And a person, they get discombobulated. They get discombobulated as regards the vision that they used to have in their religion concerning what they believed about Allah, what they believed about the Sirat al-Mustaqim, the Sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the Sabil al-Mu'mineen, the Tariq of the Salaf al-Salihin, what they knew that they were upon, what the Imams of the Salaf put down, the Asanid thabita, qawiyya, was strong. Change the narration going back to the companions of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and going back to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam himself. What the Imams of the Sunnah put down as regards Aqidah and Manhaj in their books. What is found in Kitab al-I'tisam by Imam al-Bukhari, Kitab al-Iman of Sahih Muslim. What is found in the book of the Sunnah, in the Sunnah of Abi Dawood. And what is found in every book of Hadith. What is found in the Ibanatain, in the Ibana al-Sughra, and Ibana al-Kubra, of Ibn Battal al-Uqbari. What is found in the voluminous book, Sharh Usul I'tiqad Ahl Sunnati wal Jama'ah, by Al-Lalakai. A person, they've been told, they've been directed, they've been taken by the hand by the ulama al-Rabbaniyin. Lillahi alhamd wal minna, and directed towards the straight path. وَبَيْنَ عَشِيَّةٍ وَضُحَاهَا يَتَغَيَّرُ. And then between today and tomorrow he changes. Ziggity boom. Where'd he go? He don't even know. يا أخي تعال يا أخي أين ذهبت? Where you going? Come back. What made you change? Money. What made you change? Poverty. وَمِنَ النَّاسِ مَا يَعْبُدُ اللَّهَ عَلَى حَرْفٍ. Allah said in the Quran, and from the people are those people who worship Allah ala harf. They're on the edge. In asabahu khayrun itma'anna bih. If good comes to him, he has tu'manina, his heart is at peace. When asabatu fitna. But if he's tried with the test, if he's stricken with the test, then qalaba ala wajhihi. And he turns back upon his wajh. What is meant by his wajh is his wijha. As was stated by At-Tabari in his tafsir. And he goes back in the direction he was in before. Before Allah guided him to Islam or the Sunnah, Salafiyya, he goes back. خَسِرَ الدُّنْيَا وَالْآخِرَةِ. He loses in this world and the hereafter. These were people that came from the Arab, as was stated by At-Tabari. So there were people from the Bedouins that came to Medina during the time of the Prophet ﷺ. And when they were stricken with sickness and poverty and so on and so forth, they apostated from Islam, and they said the reason that we have incurred misfortune is because we followed Muhammad ﷺ. And there's nothing that comes about by obedience to Allah and the Messenger ﷺ except for goodness in this world and hereafter. But a person, as regards their vision and their religion and their understanding and their foresight, and their mind is changed by what? Their mind is changed by doubts and desires. And they deviate as regards what they used to deem to be correct. They deem it to be munkar. And the likes of these affairs. It was stated by Hudayfa, he said, وَإِيَّاكُمْ وَتَلَوٌ فِي دِينِ اللَّهِ. And I warn you of being shifty in Allah's religion. I warn you of being shifty in Allah's religion. Talawun. So where a person goes from lawn ila lawn. He's a shapeshifter like a chameleon. He changes alwan, colors. A shapeshifter. Chameleon. وَإِيَّاكُمْ وَتَلَوٌ فِي دِينِ اللَّهِ. I warn you of being shifty as regards Allah's religion. فَإِنَّ دِينَ اللَّهِ وَاحِدٌ. For verily Allah only has one religion. Allah only has one religion. There's only one religion for Allah Ta'ala. And so knowledge is that which has a tremendous effect upon the heart of a person. Hassan al-Basri, he said, so they had more vision with their hearts as regards their religion than you have with your eyes concerning your dunya. He said, and they were more disinterested in what Allah made halal for them than you are in what Allah has made haram for you. That's the effects of the basira. Because knowledge has fruits. From the fruits of that is that and the scholars they mentioned, and that is zuhd, and he is being disinterested in anything that will harm you in the hereafter. And above that is what is called al-wara, which is being disinterested in everything that will not benefit you in the hereafter. That's two different things. A person being disinterested in what will harm him in the hereafter, and then above that, a person being disinterested in what will not benefit him in the hereafter. Because not necessarily everything that won't benefit him will actually harm him. Right? But out of cautiousness. And so they were disinterested with the things of this world, except for that which would bring them close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He said, and they were more afraid that their actions wouldn't be accepted than you are that your bad deeds, that you will be punished for your bad deeds. And so these were just some preliminary words. Inshallah, after the Salat al-Maghrib, we want to begin reading from one of the books of the Shaykh Sa'di rahimahullah ta'ala that is entitled Al-Mukhtasar fi Usul al-Aqaid al-Diniyya. any brief summarization of the fundamentals of the beliefs of Islam. سائلين الله سبحانه وتعالى التوفيق والسداد والهداية إلى سبيل الرشاد. Asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give us tawfiq and to guide us to the path of correct behavior. هذا وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد.